If you are a truck driver that believes you can be on prescription narcotic and be a Class A CDL driver driving your semi-truck legally, you are wrong.
Yes, you are wrong.
No, seriously.
I am being serious.
A trucking company this past week told me they had a truck driver, they had them all set up to come to their orientation to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
And over the weekend, he calls in and he tells, I guess, the recruiter, they were just talking, that he mentions it nonchalantly that he's, on, I don't know, it was Oxycontin, Vicodin, whatever. It was one of those.
A drug.
Yeah, a narcotic. And he tells the recruiter, he says he only takes it at night for pain.
Wink, wink.
What'd you say?
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
Take it at night.
Exactly. Oh, so you don't believe he's just taking it at night? Wink, wink. Yeah. Remember that was it the Dave Letterman show or was it Johnny Carson? It was Dave Letterman when the guy would go, yeah, that's the ticket when he was BS. But anyways, so he says, yeah, I'm prescribed it. And she said, well, did you mention this to safety? And he said, I don't know, but because they did a drug screen on him where he lives. He said, I wrote it down on the drug screen. Yeah. And then he said, yeah, this happens to me all the time. He said, I'll fail it, and then they have to ask my doctor, and then he'll okay it. And I'm thinking to myself, no way.
I don't understand. I can't.
No doctor, first off, is going to go, yeah, I'll allow somebody to drive 80,000 pounds on narcotics. Number one, no, I don't believe that at all.
Well, you can't. I'm still having the hard time because how can you prove that he's only taking it at night?
Well, you can't.
That's the thing. So he could be getting up and driving and still take his med.
Well, like you said, wink, wink.
Mm-hmm.
And so then he says to the recruiter, but if you want me to stop taking it, I will. It's the most bizarre story.
Yeah, because, if you're prescribed this medication for pain, and you're now saying, I'll stop taking it right now, it's not really that you need it that much for pain then, if you're willing to stop it right now. That sounds more like I'll stop drinking this minute. Right now, I'll just stop. This is my last drink. Now.
I wonder if that same doctor will prescribe like some Southern Comfort.
Only at night.
Only at night. Some tequila, just to kind of ease up on his tension. No, I got news for you drivers out there. First off, I think they just kicked like 175,000 CDLs out of the industry because these SAP drivers couldn't get their return to duty status taken care of. So you had a huge number of semi-truck drivers that are now not with CDL. I would tend to think that nobody's going to okay that kind of a pain medicine. I just don't see it.
No, I don't either. Like I said, it's first of all, I guess, isn't it against regulations for them, like FMCSA, to have any narcotic drug period taking while you're driving a tractor trailer?
You're not allowed to, according to the feds, you're not allowed to have it in your system.
So if you take it at night, it's in your system.
Correct. So anyways, that's just my opening message to drivers. Listen, guys, you're not allowed to be high at all. It just doesn't work.
Even at night.
It's like somebody told me the other day, right? They smoke weed all day long. It's medical marijuana, right? They said, but they don't get high. But it's the good grade with THC in it, right? But they don't get high. This lady's husband told me this. I said, don't tell me somebody's not getting high if they're smoking it all day long, okay? And it's got THC in it. You cannot. It's almost like, remember when Clinton said, who was it? He said, I didn't inhale. Was it Clinton?
No, I don't know.
One of them said, yeah, I smoked it, but I didn't inhale. Why would you smoke it if you're not going to inhale it? You know, there's a reason to smoke weed. Okay, please don't tell me it's for the pain. And I know we're going to get a bunch of people writing in and saying, oh, yeah, it's for the pain. Well, if it's for the pain, then take the THC out. Okay, but you see, most of them will tell you, no, you need that. Okay, so then you need the part to get you stoned. But the bottom line is that's why they will not legalize it for driving. They're just not going to.
Mm-hmm.
No THC and no narcotic. Can't have it in your system. If you're a driver looking for a new trucking job, check out NCI. NCI offers the following: new Kenworth T680s, competitive wages, solo, team, and students welcome, plus a full benefit package for you and your family. Check them out today at 888-311-7076. That's 888-7076. And tell them TalkCDL sent you.
Attention trucking companies and truck drivers. If you need help with cash flow, we've got help on the way. Turn to Tab Bank, the bank that knows trucking. Tab Bank has been in the business of helping truck drivers and trucking companies with their cash flow needs for 25 years. It's just that simple. It's what they do, but they don't stop there. Tab Bank helps grow your business with their invoice, factoring, and banking services. What a plus that is. Before you book your next load, play it safe and contact Tab Bank to get their help with your factoring needs. Tab Bank helps determine the credit worthiness of your customers as well as billing and collection efforts on invoices that you factor with them. Let the experts at Tab Bank get you cash quickly for the loads you deliver. Again, it's what they do. Visit tabbank.com/TalkCDL to learn more. That's tabbank.com/TalkCDL. Tab Bank member FDIC.
At Spectrum Insurance and TruckingInsuranceGuy.com, we deliver fast, reliable, and affordable trucking insurance built for owner-operators and fleets alike. I used to be an owner-operator myself, so I know what matters on the road. Whether you're running cross-country routes or making local deliveries, we tailor your coverage to meet DOT requirements and keep your rig rolling. From liability and cargo to physical damage and more, we've got your back. Need a quote? Visit TruckingInsuranceGuy.com, or if you prefer to talk, call our Spectrum team for expert advice and unbeatable services at 507-884-1312. That's 507-884-1312, where there's always a human answering a phone.
You know, when you said Bill Clinton, it made me think of another thing that he's widely known of. So then I thought to myself, so if you don't kiss them, does that make it cheating?
Monica Lewinsky. Yeah, Clinton. I'm pretty sure he's got like a couple screw ups, doesn't he? And again, I'm not political. I'm not picking on either side here. I'm just saying, you know, a specific guy isn't he the one that said I didn't inhale?
I don't know, but if you think about it, every single politician has something in their closet that
they all have
peeks out. So I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Listen, they're politicians. Yeah. Their closets are dirtier than most. It's just a fact.
Mine's pretty messy right now too.
Right, so. But you're not a politician. So.
No.
Anyways.
No, I'm just a lazy housewife with throwing my shoes in my closet and just toss them just right in there. Just don't walk in it.
Yeah,
so it might jump out at you.
You know, that brings me to something else. And, move on. Let's move on for a second, okay? Before we take a break.
Moving on.
You know what we haven't talked about in years about
That was a heck of a look you just gave.
Well, I'm just saying, like, one of the things that I used to really preach on with, like, new drivers and everything is keep your truck clean. And I mean clean, like, I've been in truck drivers, in their cab at a truck stop, right? Like, for example, I remember this one guy up in Detroit at the Detroiter. I was in his truck because he was advertising where he sharpened knives.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had
I remember that.
Yeah, I had a little switchblade. I forget, it was like $5. It was just back in the day, $5-10, and he put a blade on it for me, right? But his truck was so nice and neat. And then I remember this one driver where we were at the one of the tobacco plants in Kentucky. We were picking up, I think it was at Marlboro at Philip Morris. This was years ago, and we were picking up there. And this truck driver and I, we were just all talking in a crowd, and he was kind of saying about how he keeps his truck. And he literally was standing there, and he went over and opened his truck up, right? Ruthann, this guy had bedroom slippers sitting right inside the door. You could have literally taken food and put it on his floor and ate off it and been confident that it was that clean. Literally. His bedroom slippers, he would slip his walking shoes off and into his utility box, and then he would slide his slippers on to drive. He would not let a piece of dirt come in his truck. And the reason I'm bringing this up, if you're a truck driver and you're out on the road, okay, a day, a week, a month, whatever you stay out, if your truck, and guys, don't take this the wrong way, I'm going to use a word, pigsty. If your truck is a pigsty, and everybody knows if they're neat or messy, okay, if your truck is very messy, that can really promote depression while you're out. Because first off, if you have your clothes in your truck and they're just in a pile and they're not clean, they're going to start smelling. If you have garbage that you just threw on the floor or it's in a bag and you don't take it out of the truck, it's going to create odors, okay? Your shoes will create odors, all that stuff. So, but the drivers that they make their bed when they get up, they make sure their shoes are put away, their clothes go in their laundry basket for their new clothes that they're going to wear. When they're out on the road once a week, they'll go to a laundromat and they'll clean their clothes. You know, bottom line, if you're in a nice, neat environment, it's a lot easier to stay out there on the road. But if you are in a mess, it can get depressing. There's been times where, you know, I didn't keep my truck clean even. I'm not talking about, like, I've seen some really messy trucks, but I'm talking about, you know, where, you know, I had a bag of clothes that I needed to get into the laundromat, or maybe I had a couple bags of McDonald's food sitting in there that I didn't throw away yet. You know what I mean? And I learned real fast you don't want to go down the road that way, for the simple reason. It's like, oh my gosh, this is, you know, I've seen guys' trucks, Ruthann, where you got to step over.
When you open the door and the stuff comes flying out because it's afraid to stay in there anymore.
And I feel bad for them. And again, I'm not here to put them down, but I think what happens is it comes down to organizational skills. Some drivers feel that they're going to run their butt off, pull into the truck stop, back in, and then just plop into the bed because they're so tired, when they really could just get out of the truck for a minute, clean out any garbage that you were going down the road, you know, eating out of, or whatever the case is. And when you take your clothes off, get into the habit of having a bag behind the seat there that you stick your dirty clothes in. And isn't there like some stuff you could stick in the bag to keep it from you know, smelling, like even not mothballs, but like some kind of a scent eater you could throw in the bag. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, there's plenty of things that you could put in a laundry bag. I mean, you could put a fabric softener sheet in there even, or a piece of cedar wood, anything in there that would help. You know, it depends on what kind of scent that you like as a person. But, you know, you're 100% correct. If you don't have your area that you're spending 90% of your time in clean and organized, you do kind of start getting a little disgruntled, and you might not even realize what it is, but just because you're trying to find something and you can't find it because you got so much disorganization. I know people say, oh, I know where everything's at. Actually, you might know where it's at, but you really don't know where everything's at, because a lot of times you might know where that one thing is that you've touched often, but that's about it. the rest of the stuff's thrown around and you've totally lost where it would have been. So keeping your truck organized, not only that, but I mean, it looks good if the company sees that your truck's nice, or as an owner-operator for resale purposes, you want to keep your tractor nice. Many reasons why you want to do it.
No, you bring up good points. And I think, though, the main thing with me would be if my truck is messy on the road, I'm going to be like looking at it like, ugh, this is depressing. And then, the more depressed you get, the harder it is to stay out there, keep it nice. You don't have to be like Martha Stewart. It's like, fashionably decorated. But some guys, man, I'll tell you, some drivers have amazing trucks in the. I'll tell you what else is cool while you're out there. And they sell a lot of this stuff now where you can buy some ELD lights that are like magnet or sticky kind of, and I'm talking about they're rechargeable. Not
LED, not ELD.
Oh, well,
you truckerhead.
It's got the same letters. ELD lights. No, LED. Thank you for correcting me. So LED lights, and to where you actually put a phone app on your phone, and you can have like a couple under the dash. You can have a couple in the back on your bunk. You can have one hanging, and then all you do is flip on your dash light. Or your whatchamacallit? Phone and make, and you can have it plugged into an outlet too, one of your power outlets if you'd rather buy one like that. But there's different kind you can buy to where you don't have to mount them inside or anything like that. You can, and what I'm getting at is when you're at night in the truck, some nice, green or blue lights, black lights, whatever, in your cab are really set like a real comfortable mood for yourself. Maybe while you're sitting back reading, you can't go to sleep yet and you're wanting to read. It's nice to have that, onset of comfort is what I'm getting at. Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is make your truck comfortable, drivers, because it's your home and it's a lot easier to stay in that truck longer at a time.
One thing I wanted to mention when you were saying about like the garbage or certain other things, there's a lot of people now that have certain forms of allergies. They're everywhere. And if you have allergies and you're wearing certain clothes that were outside and you're throwing them around your bunk, all you're doing is really throwing that pollen or anything that you're really having a reaction to all over your bunk. So your best bet is really to put it away. Food, after it hits a certain point, there's molds that go on that. I'm one that's allergic to the
everything.
Yeah, mold, mildew, all that kind of dust. So, pollen. I'm one that I would want to have my tractor clean because if I'm going to be driving it out on that road, I don't want to be sick. I don't want to have to be sneezing and sniffling, and I don't. So if you're a person that does have that stuff, just kind of, oh well, maybe it's because I keep throwing my shirts and stuff here, and I'm actually allergic to the pollen that's outside, and I keep throwing it around my room.
Something else I was thinking about while you're saying that, a can of that Lysol spray disinfectant, smells good, all that stuff. That also, little things like that can keep your truck fresh. And then the other thing is, if you're in an area where you can crack your windows and get some fresh air coming in also, little things like that. That's
just that little side window,
Yeah, little ways to make yourself comfortable, drivers. And I could tell you right now, it's always going to start with the way you keep your truck, and that's going to set your mood. So, try it.
I personally like diffusers.
Yes, Ruth Ann loves diffusers. There's no doubt. We go to a hotel, and Ruth Ann has her diffuser with her, and her little
my oils.
Those.
It's pretty amazing when your grandkids or someone that's traveling with you says, "Do you have your diffuser?" Yes, I do.
Exactly. So anyway, that's time to move on. How's that sound?
Moving on.
Let's take a quick break.
For over 20 years, Sumar Financial has been a trusted partner for owner-operators and small carriers, providing fast, flexible, and transparent freight factoring solutions that keep businesses rolling. Here's why truckers choose Sumar. Number 1, same-day payments. Number 2, if a broker doesn't pay, Sumar takes the loss. Zero risk for you. Number 3, no reserve plan. Get all your money up front with no hidden final payouts. Number 4, no long-term commitment. Try Sumar with no minimum volume requirements or long-term contracts. Number 5, fuel card program with top savings. The best network in the country, flexible payment methods, and IFTA support. With fast, hassle-free payments, technology-driven solutions, dedicated account executives, no surprises, no hidden fees. Trust Sumar Financial to get your invoices paid today. And when we say paid today, we mean paid today. For more information and to learn about Sumar, go to landings.sumar.com/TalkCDL. That's landings.summar.com/TalkCDL. Truck Parking Club is a network of instantly reservable daily and monthly truck parking locations throughout the U.S. Truck Parking Club helps connect truckers to truck parking locations throughout the U.S. via truckparkingclub.com. Our networks is made up of property owners that have locations adequate for truck parking to list on the platform. This includes trucking companies, storage companies, CDL schools, trailer leasing companies, real estate investors, truck parking operators, and more. Go to truckparkingclub.com today. Okay, we're back. So I seen this interesting article, and I purposely wanted to do the math, and you'll understand what I mean by do the math. I do. Right, when I get done reading this article, and because I think to myself, it sounds like BS coming from UPS. United Parcel Service. Listen to the title of this article. UPS offers full-time drivers a buyout of $1,800 per year of service if they agree to resign. So they're restructuring, and they're offering drivers $1,800 a year for every year they've been there. So this real easy math. If you've been there 10 years, UPS is going to pay you $18,000. And of course, minus taxes, because they can't just pay you. So you're probably going to come away with, maybe $14,000, maybe $14,000 cash to quit. So, but let's read the article. It says package delivery giant UPS is offering drivers. And the reason I bring this article in is because there's a lot of tractor trailer drivers, right? And so it says package delivery giant UPS is offering drivers a financial compensation package if they voluntarily resign as the company undergoes a massive restructure. Thank you. On July 18th, UPS announced the U.S. Driver Voluntary Severance Plan, which provides the company's full-time drivers with an opportunity to receive a generous financial package if they choose to leave UPS. Now, remember what that just said. A generous financial package. It says the company pointed to the largest network reconfiguration in UPS history as the reason for the driver buyout program. Which really means they're trying to get cheap on people. The DVSP is to provide drivers with $1,800 per year of service at UPS with a minimum payout of $10,000. UPS said a driver with 27 years of service would receive a payout of $48,000. So if you're there 27 years, you're going to get just under $50,000 minus taxes. You're probably still going to get about maybe $40,000. Okay? According to the memo on the program, while a driver with 5 years of service would receive the minimum payout of $10,000. So I'm wondering if if a guy has 1 year
I guess unless the buyout don't count for anybody under 5 years. I don't know. It doesn't say that. Says the financial package is to be issued in addition to earned retirement benefits, included pensions and health care, the company said. The program is entirely voluntarily, UPS stressed, and each driver is encouraged to choose the option that is best for his or her family. For more than 100 years, we've had the productive relationship with the Teamsters, and we will continue to do so. We remain committed to our agreements we reached in 2023 as a part of a contract negotiations, UPS said in the DVSP announcement. The International Brotherhood of Teamsters, which represents 300,000 UPS, you hear that? 300,000 UPS workers responded to the DVSP announcement by telling drivers to reject the offer. And I agree with them. The Teamsters are saying, don't take it. Now, I went ahead and I didn't do the math because my math brain already knows. Okay? And in fact, they go on to say, let's be clear, jobs are not for sale. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to buy these guys jobs. Now, watch this. This is just my math brain. I'm going to do the math right now. If you're there 10 years, like I said, if you're a 10-year driver, and I look this up, what does the average UPS driver make? What do you think it is? Now, I'm talking about these guys that are really cranking it up, $145,000 to $170,000 with benefits for full-time drivers. That's where they get up to $49 an hour, some of these guys, all right? Now, the guys that are just starting off, they're probably maybe $40,000, $50,000 their first year, maybe second year, $80,000. You know what I mean? Like the first couple of years, they're probably between the $40,000 and $80,000. But then it starts climbing drastically. These guys start getting up over $100,000. Now, so let's just do the math. A 10-year guy, let's say a 10-year guy is at 120. Okay? I know Cisco drivers make that. Okay? Let's say you're at $120,000 and you're there 10 years. You're going to take a buyout of $18,000? Yeah, of course you get your retirement, but why would you want to take your retirement if you're like, say, 40 years old? Would you want to retire at 40 and waste your retirement? Of course not. But let's forget about the retirement for a second. Let's just talk about the buyout, what they're offering. They're offering $1,800. If you're there 10 years, that's $18,000. And if you're a $120,000 man, that means in about 2 months, okay, you have already would have made the $18,000 that they were giving you in 2 months. Not to mention the fact that you're probably not going to go out there and find another $120,000, $130,000 job right now, especially right now in this economy. So why would you give up? You know what I mean? Only a crazy man would say, oh, that's a good deal. Think I'll take that.
Yeah, the only one I would say that would be if they're really close to the 60 age group.
Right.
And they're looking at, okay, I'm going to retire in 5 years anyways, or 2 years or whatever it is. And if it's Teamsters and you're the union, that's a whole nother story there.
Yeah, they're getting super benefits.
So
their pensions are great. But let's talk about what you just said. Let's say you've been there 50 years, right? Mm-hmm. 50 years times $1,800. That's, go ahead.
Honey, how old would he be if he's there 50 years?
Maybe 70. Maybe he went there when he was, say, 20.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I don't know if there is a 50-year guy. Well, let's just say 40 years. Okay. Let's just say you're 65 and you've got 40 years with UPS. If we do the math, 40 times 1,800 is going to be 40 times 1,800 is going to be $72,000. If you're 65 and you're going to pay tax on that, you're probably going to pay, again, I don't know what they're paying, but a $72,000 check, they're going to probably lose at least 30% of that. So times 30% is $21,000. So they're looking at maybe taking a $50,000 check. Well, to be honest with you, you'd be probably at 65. I agree with you. Maybe then you take, give me the money. I'll take the $50,000 cash that I'll probably get after taxes. Stick that, you know what I mean, in a some stocks, some blue chip stocks, and, in 5 more years from now, 50 grand, if you do compound it, you could turn that into 200 grand, easily 50 grand. If it's invested correctly, you can turn it into more. So yeah, I agree. If you're really close to retirement, yeah, it's probably worth it. But for you guys that are like in your 20s and 30s, just like the Teamsters told you, don't be crazy. They're buying you out cheap. That's cheap. That's very cheap.
Yeah, it is.
You know what? Let's look up and see what UPS is worth. That's a good idea. And remember,
y'all hear that? He just said that was a good idea to himself for thinking of that idea. Yeah, welcome to Troy's world.
What's that? Say that again. What'd you say?
You said let's look up and see what UPS is worth. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. No. Oh, I said it and then okay. So it's saying here. Let me just see. UPS got to be worth big, but I can't. I see the stock. Stocks are good. Like, what is the actual overall worth of UPS? I'm not seeing it. I would think it's in the billions. I mean, they have 300,000 workers. Let me see here. Oh, here it is. I found it. 83.75 billion. 83. You believe Jeff Bezos has more money than that? It's crazy. Okay, 83, or not Jeff Bezos, but Musk has like 200 million or some crap. So $83 billion. $83 billion. And they're offering $1,800 per year. So if the average guy has 20 years, they're offering $36,000 to buy out people. Do you remember what the difference is between a million and a billion, right? If you take a million seconds, it goes 11 days. If you took a billion seconds, it goes 33 years. UPS is fat rich. So for them to offer chump change to some guy that maybe has 10, 15 years into their company, I think it's a joke. Drivers, listen to me, truck drivers, do not take the deal. What's that game show where they
Let's Make a Deal?
Let's Make a Deal. No, there was another. What was that? I Want to Be a Millionaire. Don't they say, okay, I'm going to quit now?
That's the one with Howie Mandel.
Yeah, I'm going to quit while I
Let's Make a Deal.
$10,000. No, it's called I Want to Be a Millionaire or something like that.
I don't know.
Yeah, Let's Make a Deal was Bob Barker.
No, I don't know. I never really watched much of them.
Okay, so anyways, I'm just saying, bad idea. You have any thoughts before we move on that? Seriously, because, I mean, it's crazy.
No, I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Listen to the Teamsters.
Yeah, listen to your Teamster boss. All right, let's move on. Let's not beat the dead horse. One last thing I wanted to mention. Just one.
You couldn't do it, could you?
No, well, you heard the story the other day. That company that I had on speaker, and they were telling us they had a driver that showed up. I said to him, how's your Monday going? He goes, well, aside from the guy that showed up at orientation that had a list of things I couldn't believe, he said the guy had a heart attack 2 years ago, bypass surgery, kidney cancer, liver cancer, spinal problems. He had like 7 or 8 things. Oh, and a giant history of workers' compensation. And I said to him, was that mentioned on before you hired him? He goes, obviously not. They would have never brought drivers. I want to tell you something. If you've had a heart attack in the last so many years, it's mandatory by the DOT FMCSA regulations that you do a stress test. I think they changed it to every 2 years. It used to be every year. Ruth Ann, I don't know if you know the calling on that one.
I actually don't remember. They made too many changes recently, so I have to look that one back up.
Right. And the other thing is, if you have an injury, like this guy had like spinal problems, right? If you have an injury at all, first off, and you show up at a trucking company without telling them that you have this injury, first off, they're going to send you home. Second off, if you have the injury, before you come in, they're going to request not just a note, but a note from the doctor that's been caring for that injury, stating that you are 100% relieved of anything like compensation. You're 100% okay to work. 100%. They're going to want that. Second off, if you show up with a bunch of health problems, they're probably not going to hire you. They're just not going to. And here's the other thing. I remember the other thing that this guy was on. He was on some kind of psych medicine.
Well, hello.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the other thing. Like some drivers, I want to tell you something. Just because your doctor might say it's okay if you're on like psych medicine, most companies are not going to hire that. They're just not.
FMCSA overrides the qualifications that are needed than what the doctor's saying, oh no, you're perfectly fine to go and drive a tractor trailer with this situation. They don't understand FMCSA regulations. They don't allow that. Federally, you cannot ride in a truck driving it.
With certain medications.
Yes.
Right.
It's a classification issue.
Right. So really what I'm trying to tell drivers, I remember when I worked for this company up in Pennsylvania, and I remember this one driver. I'll never forget it. I was in the office, right? And they were the recruiter wanted to hire this guy. And it was Schaefer Trucking. Like, I don't care. I'll tell them who it was. I'm talking 20 some years ago. Schaefer Trucking. Owned by Ackley Corporation, right? Creek Carrier and all that. And the safety director at the time, his name was Tom. And I remember the recruiter saying, putting this driver application in front of him. And the guy had a broken thumb a year prior to this application. A broken thumb. And he was on workman's comp for about 10 months.
For a thumb?
Well, that's exactly what the safety director said. Because the recruiter's in there arguing with him, and I can hear him saying, listen, man, he only had a hurt thumb. It's not a big deal. And he said, that's what makes it a big deal. And he educated that recruiter that day. He said, listen, anybody that's going to take off almost a year for a thumb is somebody that's looking for a paycheck while he sits home. It's exactly what he told this. I remember hearing this. Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, Tom's right. He is. Who the hell takes off? I had a pallet one time go through my hand, and you remember that?
Yeah.
Like it's sticking right through my hand, and all I did was pull the wood out and wrap my hand and stayed working that day, and until they made me go home. Okay, I'm not bragging about me. I'm just saying there's many drivers that have a hurt foot, or they have a hurt arm, or they got pains, and they don't stop working. And then you get some guy that has a thumb, and he's going to stay on workman's comp for almost a year. Tom was right. And so what I'm getting at is, drivers, when you come to a company, be very careful with what you say and with what you show up with.
I bet he broke his thumb pulling it out of his mouth.
What, you think he was sucking on his thumb?
A little baby.
No, but let's be honest, guys. And there may be somebody right now getting insulted, but I'm just trying to tell everybody, this is the way safety and insurance companies look at driver applications these days. If you have an injury, man, and you start collecting workman's compensation, you're taking a chance, because real good trucking companies get wind of workers' comp claims. They're not hiring you guys. Be careful.
You turn into a liability, not an asset.
Right. And then the other thing is this. This is Tom, the same guy taught me this. In safety, he said, listen, when you get a guy that you hire that, like, say he had a back injury, and you go down the road in the new trucking company's truck, the vibration or the bouncing of that truck now can cause that injury to be re-injured. So if this guy all of a sudden 6 months later his back is hurting again, he's got to put in a claim. Now the new trucking company, it falls 50% under them now. I think it's 50-50 now. The old company still is liable, right, where he got his injury, but now the new company, they are 50% liable. And that's one of the reasons why trucking companies don't want to hire, workers' comp guys. Guys, if you've had heart problems, if you have injuries, if you have any of that stuff, I'm telling you, you're ruling yourself out with a lot of trucking companies. And mainly because there's three big bills in trucking. There's the three biggest bills in trucking are, you ready for this?
Hit me.
Fuel. The fuel bill is huge. Just think about a truck that has to put 300 gallons in every truck, a couple times a week, or at least once or twice a week. Mm-hmm. And if you have 1,000 trucks, it's just crazy. The second one is the insurance you have to pay. Health insurance, truck insurance, all that stuff. It's a giant bill. But, and this isn't necessarily in order, but the third big thing is workers' comp.
Yeah.
Workers' comp claims. They are huge. They kill industries. So if you're a driver out there and you slipped and you got a little pain, think twice before you go and start making claims. Now, I'm not saying you don't deserve it if you're hurt. If it's a legit hurt, that's cool. But a lot of guys, they get a little hurt and then they use that as a way to take off and get a paycheck.
Right.
Once you do that, drivers,
you're now putting a large sign on your forehead.
Yes. What does that sign say that they just put on their forehead? Don't hire me.
Yep.
I'm telling you, that's what it says.
A liability.
I'm a guy that's going to collect. And I'm telling you, there's people that are going to probably hate us for this podcast, but I'm just speaking truth. This is exactly what goes on in the industry. And if you want it sugar-coated, I'm not a sugar-coating kind of guy. You're better off listening to another podcast because I'm just telling you the truth. You're definitely putting a sign on your forehead that says, whether you're a guy that wants to collect or not, they're going to perceive you as a guy that wants to collect. That's the whole point.
If you've put an app in lately, because drivers are putting in apps. That's right now, that's what's going on, right? We have a lot of drivers in the industry that are wanting to put their apps in. So when you're putting your app in and you're contacting these companies and they're politely saying, "I'm sorry, we have better candidates." If you're getting those kind of responses, look and see, are you a driver that has filed some workman comp claims? We're not even going to go with the too many jobs or anything like that, but look and see, aside from the job, what kind of person you are. And if you are one of those, there's your answer. It has to do with the fact that you put too many claims in or you have a big claim in, and they do not want to take that risk.
No, you're 100% right. And I hope this helps some of these drivers because, like I said, if, there's a difference between, okay, I sprained my ankle, okay, and I'm going to sit at home, I can maybe, drive my truck. I mean, come on, they're all automatics. You know what I mean? If I sprain my ankle, I keep working. I wouldn't use that as an excuse to sit at home. I wouldn't do it. I'm sorry if you're a driver that...
Wrap it.
Whatever. The bottom line is, I'm going to have my sprained ankle whether I'm at home not making money or I got my sprained ankle while I'm in the truck and driving down the road with my cruise control on. It's not that big of a deal. I've had sprained ankles and wrists and all that stuff through my life, so it's not like I can't do anything, okay? Come on, man. That same guy with the sprained ankle that sits at home, he goes out to dinner and does other things while he's at home, okay?
True.
He still finds a way to do shit.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. So all I'm saying is, guys, be careful because you can rule yourself out. You don't want this. You don't want the sign on your forehead, workers' comp guy. You don't want that. You don't.
Nope.
Ruth Ann, that's the podcast for the week.
Ooh.
You got your word of the day.
I have my word of the day.
Why'd you go ooh? Because I was over talking.
No.
Because it sounded like when you went ooh. I thought it was like, oh my gosh, Troy.
No.
Shut up, damn it.
No, I think of that mostly nights, but no. No, I was very into listening, and my head kept going on with more things, and I'm like, you know how I can get. I'm a squirrel. Okay.
I know that.
And as you're talking about different stuff, my mind's swirling on, and our daughter went and danced, and she, after she came off the stage, we had to take her to the ER, and she ended up getting her gallbladder removed too. Like my head's going through all of these things about how drivers can be babies, and, you have these kids that are tougher.
And listen, most of the time we know that most drivers are not babies.
No.
You got to be careful what you say.
I'm sorry.
Because just because they're big burly truckers doesn't mean they don't have a sensitive side. And we don't want every truck driver thinking, well, they just called every driver lazy and babyish. No, we didn't. We're calling the ones that are babies.
And they know if they are. They
Right.
know they are if they are.
Yeah. If you
know it if you know it.
If you're that guy, you know it. Okay. But most of you guys are not. So don't take it the wrong way. Damn it.
So there's the acronym or what, I don't even know. When you use just the letters, like LOL.
Right.
Well, there's one for if you know. Those first letters, if you see that, the YKIF, YK, I think it is, if you know, that just means that if you're involved in it, you know what we're talking about.
How about that one, that acronym, FAFO? Frog around and find out. I use the word frog, the F word. Frog around and find out.
I didn't even know that one.
Oh yeah, look it up if you look it up on the internet, it's got like 1 million people that mess with the wrong person and get decked or something like that. It's called FAFO, frog around and find out.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that one.
Mess up, don't do something stupid is what they're saying. Anyways, let's hear the word of the day.
Okay, hold on. Gotta turn my speaker on because
Oh, go ahead. I'm gonna crank you up.
So many emails, I have to turn it off or it'll go bing, ding.
All right, you ready?
Sockdolager.
Sockdolager?
Sockdolager.
Do it again.
Sockdolager.
So basically it's the word sock.
That's what I was thinking. Is it really the word sock?
It's sock with DOL or sock do lager. Sock do lager.
Well, Ruth Ann, you are a sock expert. You wear fuzzy socks and all that
love
stuff.
Socks.
You're a sock girl.
I love socks.
You like weird socks.
I do. The weirder, the better.
Does this word have anything to do with socks?
Absolutely not.
Aw.
Totally. Like I'm reading. I'm like, oh, it's a me. So I thought, oh, this is just perfect. This is a perfect word for me. Is it me? And I look at it, I'm like, yeah, it is me. Just not quite like I thought it was.
So let's hear it.
An exceptional person or thing.
Okay, so it is like you're exceptional. All right.
Or, which threw me off, a forceful blow. So an exceptional person or thing, or a forceful blow. How can you go from one extreme to the other? Sockdolager.
Interesting.
Yes.
Hey, before we go real quick, I just wanted to mention that we are planning on being at the Florida Truck Show in Fort Lauderdale this year. I think it's February 21st and 22nd, 2026. And I'm starting to advertise for it because they always invite us. They're great people. And I just wanted to mention that out there if you're in Florida or you're planning on trying to get, because that show just keeps growing. It's getting bigger and bigger.
It is.
So if you're planning on being in Florida, come meet TalkCDL. We'd love to meet you. And I am trying to plan on being in Louisville 2026 in March also. And I know you love that show. You were
I do.
kind of bummed out that we didn't come this past year.
I was pretty bummed, but
so we are,
circumstances didn't get us there.
Right. So we are trying to make plans to be at both shows and possibly even the Houston show in 2026, Lord willing. So just thought I'd bring all that up, and we are out of here.
Peace.
Peace. Praise the Lord.